Angel-6942 calling in. Angel-6942 calling in. Angel-6942 calling in. The date in human years is Friday, the 14th of May 2021. And it seems like the situation with the virus is getting much, much better. And in the UK, it looks like the lockdown is starting to be eased, with many places being open for indoor eating and drinking. Though Hobo did mention this afternoon that people had to be careful because there is this variant that might be getting worse, and he couldn't guarantee that things will stop by June, or the lockdown will stop by June. But anyway, you can tell that people are less worried about the virus on Earth because there's been a massive increase in violence and conflict. Yes, humans do that. Now, you know where JC was born? There's always been troubles around that area because of arguments between two religions, and it ended up being the third. You know the story, and we wrote a big book about it and a couple of films. But they never made a TV series, I think. Anyway, now, despite a sort of a long period of relative calm, or relatively long period, things have recently sort of escalated badly. Now, it's around this area of a hilltop which seems important to two of the religions involved. And it started when one of the religions sent their police to block the followers of the other religion from gathering there. And then the religion that was stopped was very, very angry and demanded that the other religion remove their police. Now, this didn't happen, and one side had marches, which made things worse, and then the other side started throwing rocks and violence, and that made things even much more worse, and then the police retaliated and people died, and then it's ended up with sort of rockets being shot at one side, and then the other side sending rockets back, and neighbours fighting neighbours, and violence on the streets, and buildings being blown up, and many, many people dying, and many, many people outside of that situation being very worried. Now, don't tell the boss. The boss used to tell us about this, but one of the old gods' daughter actually lives in that country, though I thought they were all Greek. But anyway, she's the daughter of the old god Zeus, and she's called Wonder Woman, and she's apparently quite famous. Now, she's trying to diffuse the situation because she said that they needed to negotiate to sort of achieve equality and tolerance, and peace, though many people were very angry at this because they said that she shouldn't get involved because she's biased, because she voluntarily joined the army of one side, even though that was mandatory for her to join the army if she lived there. Yeah. So, and I don't understand why she didn't use her powers to sort of make things better, like using her golden lasso sort of to bind everybody and make them listen to the truth. Though maybe there were so many people her lasso couldn't fit, though I thought it was quite elastic. Anyway. Now, I was thinking of JC coming down here to sort of maybe, to where he was born, and maybe sort of smooth out the situation and, make a few hundred sandwiches, fish sandwiches, and a few hundred bottles of wine. But, given the situation and the environment where people are intentionally being offended and finding things to be offended, and this whole thinking in tribes where you're either one side or the other side and there's nothing in the middle, I think JC will just get crucified again. Now, another thing the boss and JC hasn't told us about is that there are a group of immortals called Time Lords. And one of them is very famous, called the Doctor. And the human host is a big fan of the the Time Lords and the Doctor, and he follows their chronicles. And apparently it goes back centuries because some of the pictures don't have any colour. Yeah, and the Time Lord Doctor has many, many enemies, including the Daleks and the Cybermen and the Silence. Now, recently, the companions of the Doctor, because he travels with companions, have got into trouble, or two of them have got into trouble. One of them is called Mickey, and he's got into trouble because he's been accused of inappropriately touching women and sharing videos of them nude, which is not nice. And he's admitted that he shouldn't have done sharing the videos, but he's denied actually sort of touching people and being sexually inappropriate with them. Now, another of the companion is called Captain Jack, and he's very, very happy and gay. Anyway, I like him. He always seems fun. But anyway, he's got into trouble because he has been accused of exposing himself to people. And he's apologised and admitted this, but he said he's done it in a sense of jest. I suppose it is quite funny. Or maybe not. Maybe people can get offended. But anyway, now, worshippers of the Time Lord, some of them anyway, had said it's the fault of the woke, and that it's the influence of the woke that has brought this all up, because apparently it happened many, many years ago, and they've since left the Doctor's side. But despite the influence of the woke, both Mickey and the Captain Jack have now been cancelled, which makes the woke much more powerful than the Daleks, because the Daleks have been trying to cancel the Doctor and his companions for many, many years without any success. Now, another unearthly creature has been in the news this week. Something called a Pacific football fish has washed up on the shores of a place called California, which is in the USA. Apparently, this Pacific football fish lives in the deep, deep seas, deep underneath the seas where it's all dark, and it's a very unusual creature. It has glass teeth, or teeth that are so sharp and transparent it looks like glass, and on its head it has this sort of probe that has a light bulb in it, and it lights up in the sea because it helps the puffer fish or the football fish look around. And it's been washed up, which is very unusual because not many people have seen this, and a lot of people are very, very excited to see this. Though the human host was very, very disappointed when he misread the headline, Fangs and Tentacles. Now, remember some time ago, I spoke about the ex-leader of the UK called Call Me Dave. Well, lately he's rebranded himself and now he's called Call Me Dave XX. And he's been in trouble because the whole lobbying of the UK Parliament, because he keeps lobbying them, constantly lobbying them. And people are fed up of his lobbying. So he's been grilled by MPs, which must have been very, very hot and painful being grilled. And these MPs, I think the military police, must be very, very good at their job, because he admitted that it was inappropriate for him to text the Parliament so much, though he did say that he'd done nothing illegal or nothing wrong, and that he'd done this for the national interest and not for financial gain. I believe him, I think. Anyway, apparently, Call Me Dave XX was paid much, much more working for the lobbying company than he did as the leader of the UK. Which makes me think that the lobbying company should be asking for their money back. I mean, it's just as well for Call Me Dave XX that they've gone bust. Now, remember last week there was a big election. Anyway, the leader of the opposition, called Keir, wasn't very happy with the outcome. In fact, he was so upset he felt he needed to reshuffle his cabinet. Though I'm not quite sure how changing where you put your socks and your underwear will help, but maybe it makes them feel better. Anyway, I think that's all the news this week. I'll get back to you next week. fangs and tentacles. Ah. Something from deep below. Something buried deep, deep below. Deep in the dark. Heat. Pain. Deep, deep below. Washed up from deep, deep below. Washed up from deep, deep below.